Some people have no right being police officers. 24-year-old police officer Abubakar Masum, who worked as a police constable for the South Wales Police, made a distinction that his job as a police officer gave him the right to act outside the remit of laws. Simply put, corruption. The corrupt police officer felt he was superior and better than anyone else. Now, Abubakar was classed as a high achiever, complex, troubled, with a constant need of approval from himself and his peers, to the point where he had an impulsive and obsessive personality that made him want to put innocent people in jail after meeting a woman only 3 times in person. So untuned to his emotions and desires was Abubakar that when he went on a night out drinking and partying and saw someone that took his fancy, the South Wales police officer had to have them. They were like a trophy to him, an accomplishment. And Abubakar knew how to play the role. He would use his know-how as a police officer in order to destroy someone else's life, to the point where armed police were sent to the victim's home, all because Abubakar made up fake crimes that included a woman burying a GUN in the garden, being a massive dealer, dealing kilos of H and white, and also brandishing a GUN on social media where they allegedly promised to strike an Albanian dealer and then dump their body in Rossi Hill. His victim included a woman called Mia Pitman, who Abubakar was infatuated with, her ex-boyfriend Thomas Evans, and also Mia's colleague Leon Croucher. To put it simply, if Abubakar could not have Mia, then he would destroy her and anyone who was interested in a university student. Cunning, devious, narcissistic, the police officer rapidly became infatuated with a 21-year-old university student and Tesco worker, Mia Pitman, after the two had met in a nightclub prior to 2019. Abubakar often told women on nights out that he worked as a police officer, embellishing his role in the force and inserting himself into high-profile cases, where he would allude that he was often instrumental in these arrests. Now, in court, the judge did acknowledge that Abubakar's desire to help people was genuine. Now, Abubakar wanted to impress the woman and be considered a selfless hero, so when his victim, a university student who studied criminology, showed interest in working within the police force, when they graduated, the two hit it off, and they kept in contact via social media like Snapchat, Facebook, and Instagram. While Mia Pitman classed Abubakar as a friend, someone she could talk to about her desired career within the police, Abubakar Masum gloated and tried to get to know Mia on a more personal level. By Christmas of 2019, Abubakar Masum began to press more, flirting in his messages despite the fact that he was a love rat and was in a relationship for 6 years. However, the officer frequently told Mia that he was single, even when Mia became concerned that he did have a girlfriend. This was something that Abubakar would deny whenever Mia asked him directly. Now, things turned ominous when Mia Pitman and her now ex-boyfriend Thomas Evans had enjoyed an evening at Fiction nightclub in Swansea. As if by magic, Abubakar appeared by quote-unquote chance and was told to have absolutely flipped his lid, screaming and shouting that it was obvious that the two were back together. Thomas Evans and Abubakar Masum had sized each other up in the nightclub, nose touching nose, before Thomas swung for Abubakar, clipping him on the chin. Thomas then left the club as bouncers and door staff enclosed on him. Now upset, Abubakar stayed with Mia and then at her house. 24 hours later, Abubakar commented, "I'll have him done," and that is when the South Wales police officer went off the rails and decided to destroy Thomas and Mia's and another person's lives. On February 6th of 2020, Abubakar called Crime Stoppers. He told the operator he had been set upon and then struck until he was left black and blue by a known thug called Thomas Evans in Fiction nightclub. In order to create a sense of urgency, Abubakar also says that he had seen communication on social media and had very real reason to believe that Thomas Masum was planning to make his way back to Swansea and finish Abubakar off by lobbing at him. Now, this was despite the fact that Thomas Evans had already told police that he had struck Abubakar in a highly charged incident. The incident was already being dealt with by South Wales police, with community resolution rather than criminal proceedings. However, Crime Stoppers contacted police with the new information provided by Abubakar, and Thomas Evans was regarded now as dangerous, and he was subsequently arrested. Thomas was handcuffed and put in a police cell at a station, interviewed 3 times and held for upwards of 9 hours. He then accepted a caution, but still Thomas was confused and kept telling police that he had made no promises to injure or hurt Abubakar. So, now that Thomas Evans was out of the picture, Abubakar decided to ask Mia Pitman out on a date over coffee. However, Mia refused, so Abubakar did some investigating work and found out that Mia was getting close with her friend and colleague Leon Croucher. While at work, Abubakar used the police computers to do a background search on Leon, typing in the name Croucher and Swansea on March 18th of 2020. A few days later, Abubakar was back on the phone to Crime Stoppers yet again. Angry and betrayed, Abubakar explained to Crime Stoppers that he had reason to believe that Mia Pitman had been storing GUNs on behalf of gangster and crime boss Leon Croucher. The police officer told the operator Croucher is a known drug dealer dealing with H and White and was also a student. Tomorrow night he is planning to rival Ellis Lewis in a nightclub in Swansea. That nightclub is not known, but Leon does deal in peppermint and fiction. It is known Lewis owes Croucher thousands and thousands of pounds in unpaid drug debts. Now, as Mia was working a shift in Tesco on March 20th, South Wales armed police stormed the supermarket. She was told by police officers that they had already forced entry into her home and searched for GUNs. Mia was then asked questions about Leon Croucher before she was allowed to go home. As part of the raid at Mia's house, Mia's housemate was removed from the home and placed in handcuffs and then kept in a police van. Nothing was found, of course. Now, because Abubakar was so cunning, Mia and the officer were still in contact with each other. Mia told Abubakar her home had been raided by armed officers, and now she had gone back to her home, her parents' home. Mia asked Abubakar if he knew anything about this. Now, Abubakar answered no, and even offered Mia a different place to stay. Now, Mia had no idea that the bent officer was responsible. Now, the police officer made yet another phone call to Crime Stoppers, where he informed operators, stating that Mia is holding a GUN for her partner Leon Croucher. The item is buried in a garden and will be dug up tonight for a planned M tomorrow. Abubakar also told operators that there would be a drop and the recipient of the Class A will be struck with ammo and then K'd. Mia Pitman will be driving to a location in a car on false plates. Once again, Mia Pitman received a visit from police officers, where her home was raided again. Police then searched for the GUN, which of course they never found. Mia then decided to block Abubakar after coming to the realization that the officer was involved in sending armed officers to her home on at least 2 occasions. And then on May 27th, Abubakar placed yet another call to Crime Stoppers. This time, Abubakar had accessed police computers to find information on very dangerous dealers, Albanians. The police were currently investigating. Now, Abubakar says Mia Pitman had relinquished ties with Albanian gangsters and have now aligned herself with the Harris brothers. Mia also had a GUN linked to a raid on an Albanian property in Birch Grove. Police says that information could only have come from an active police officer or criminals in the know-how. Now, Abubakar then placed 2 more further calls in June to Crime Stoppers, where the police officer says that Mia had posted on Snapchat brandishing a GUN with the promise to K an enemy. In a separate call, Abubakar says that an M had taken place and an Albanian gangster had been put in a van before being dumped in Rossi Hill. By this time, Crime Stoppers had reported Abubakar's number to police, as he was described as a nuisance caller, as he had wasted over 200 hours of police's time, while innocent people were subjected to having GUNs pointed at them, placed in handcuffs and then taken to a jail cell where interviewed numerous times. When Mia was once again interviewed by police, Mia Pitman explained that she knew someone called Abubakar Masum, who was a police officer, and he could be responsible. Police then found a connection. Abubakar Masum was then arrested, and when interviewed, Abubakar says that he had done nothing wrong, and he had given information via the right channels based on what intel he had, and the calls were genuine, and he showed a genuine concern for the general public and tried to do the right thing as a serving officer. However, Abubakar Masum was jailed for 3 years and 6 months. He also denied that he was infatuated with Mia Pitman, but he did say that she was beautiful. The question is, after nearly destroying at least 3 people's lives, does the crime match the sentence? Let me know. Stay safe.